Hey everyone, welcome back to the Be Yourself Apologetically podcast. Today's title is The Strength They Don't See, a single mum story of survival, autism, ADHD, and the system that forgot us. You know, sometimes strength doesn't look like what people imagine. It's not the gym selfies or the big speeches about empowerment. Sometimes strength looks like a single mum sitting at the kitchen table at midnight, filling in another benefits form she doesn't fully understand, while her daughters finally sleeps after a meltdown that broke both of their hearts. That's strength, and that's what I want to talk to about today. Because being a single mum on the benefits system, raising a child with autism and ADHD without support from the local authority is not just hard, it's invisible. It's an everyday battle that most people will never truly understand. People love to say, "You're so strong," but they never see the cost of that strength. They don't see the appointments, the waiting list, the letters that say, "We regret to inform you." They don't see the nights you stay up researching sensory needs or the days you skip meals because the weekly shop doesn't stretch as far as it used to. Science actually has a name for what's happening here, and it's called caregiver burnout. Studies from the University of Cambridge 2021 found that single parents of children with neurodevelopmental conditions like autism and ADHD report stress levels similar to those of combat veterans. That's not exaggeration, that's measured cortisol, the stress hormone, staying chronically high. And when cortisol stays high, it affects your sleep, your immune system, even your ability to focus or feel joy. So when people say, "You look tired," what they don't see is that your body is literally carrying the weight of survival. But here's the incredible thing about human biology. Even under extreme pressure, the brain has something called neuroplasticity, which I speak about often. The ability to adapt and grow. That means, yes, life is overwhelming, but your mind can still rewire around the chaos. When we create small moments of calm, even just 5 minutes, we help the nervous system shift from fight or flight into rest and repair. A cup of tea in silence, a walk outside when the world is still asleep, listening to your child laugh after a tough day. These aren't small things, they're biological resets. You are literally giving your brain oxygen again. The reality of the system. So let's talk about the system. The one that's meant to help but often doesn't. When you're a single mum on benefits, you become a professional form filler, an advocate, and a detective all at once. The local authority says there's support available, but it's often locked behind endless paperwork, assessments, or people who don't understand your child. I remember calling for help, being passed from department to department until I literally hung up and cried. Because it's not that I wanted pity, I just wanted someone to say, "We see you and you're doing your best." But here's the truth. The system is overstretched. Data from the UK's National Autistic Society shows that over 70% of parents of autistic children feel they receive no adequate local support, even when their child has a formal diagnosis, that's not a personal failure. That's a structural one. So, autism and ADHD, the beautiful chaos. Let's talk about what life actually looks like when your child has autism and ADHD. It's not all about labels and leaflets. It's love, it's chaos, it's beauty in the cracks. Autism isn't a tragedy. It's a different way of experiencing the world, deeply, vividly, intensely. ADHD brings energy, creativity, curiosity, and courage. But when both exist together, life becomes a constant negotiation between sensory overload and impulsive joy, between structure and spontaneity. Science shows that the ADHD brain produces lower baseline dopamine, which means kids with ADHD literally need more stimulation to feel focused or rewarded. The autistic children often experience sensory processing differences, where the world can feel too loud, too bright, or too unpredictable. Put those things together, and you, as the parent, yet again become the translator between your child and a world that wasn't built for them. No one prepares you for the loneliness, not just being single, that's my choice, but the emotional isolation of being the only adult in the room who understands your child. Friends drift away, family don't always get it, and sometimes the judgment from strangers stings more than the exhaustion itself. Research from the Journal of Family Psychology 2022 found that single mothers of neurodivergent children report twice the rates of social isolation compared to two-parent households. That isolation increases anxiety, depression, and even physical illness. But here's the part that gives me hope. Connection doesn't always come from where you expect. It can come from another mum in the school car park who gives you a knowing nod, from an online group where someone says, "Yes, me too," and relates, or from small communities that grow quietly between those who refuse to give up. This is the one reason I've started this podcast, is to let you know you're not alone. So how do you cope when there's no support? Let's just talk about what actually helps. When the system fails, when money's tight, when you feel like there's nothing left. So you can create micro moments of peace. Don't chase big changes. Just 5 minutes of calm can reset your whole nervous system. I always use these as an example, but deep breathing, grounding exercises, or maybe just sitting by the window while your child stims can be enough. Write everything down, especially for benefits, for medical appointments, for HCPs. Keep a log. Paper doesn't forget. And when you feel unheard, it becomes your evidence and your protection. Build a tiny circle, even if it's one person, a teacher who listens, a parent online, a neighbour who smiles. Connection is medicine. Accept imperfection. You're not failing if your child eats beige food for 3 days straight or the washing piles up. You're surviving, and survival is sacred. Reframe your strength. You're not just a mum on benefits. You're a carer, a teacher, an advocate, a protector, and the heartbeat of your child's world. Sometimes I look at my daughter, her laughter, her quirks, her curiosity, and I realise she's teaching me more about resilience than any book ever could. Don't get me wrong, she really struggles with social aspects, but in other ways, she's shown me so many things. She's shown me that love doesn't need to be perfect to be powerful, that we can thrive even when the system forgets us. The science of resilience tells us that secure attachment and unconditional love are two of the most powerful predictors of emotional well-being in children. And I can tell you, we have both. And I'm so pleased that I can say that. Well-being in children is more powerful than wealth, privilege, or perfect circumstances. So even when life feels hard, every time you listen to your child, hold them through their meltdown, or celebrate their small wins, you are literally rewiring their brain for safety, connection, and hope. If no one's told you lately, you're doing an incredible job. You are seen, you are valued, and even when the world feels like it's falling apart, you're still building something beautiful out of broken pieces. Maybe not everybody understands what it takes to keep going, but somewhere another mum listening right now, she gets it, and in that understanding there's strength. Because we're not just surviving, we're raising humans who will one day make the world kinder, simply because they've lived through love that never gave up. You've been listening to today's episode of Be Yourself Unapologetically, a reminder that real strength often looks quiet, tired, and brave. Take care of yourself tonight, and remember, you're never truly alone in this, and this is why I have made this podcast, and I hope to build a community with similar people going through the same thing, so nobody has to feel alone.